Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SuperCoach Corner podcast. And today we have a big one for you. The big dogs team reveal. Tyson, multiple top 1%, back-to-back top 1000s in the last 2 years, topping off with a 65th overall back in 2024. Pushing the top 100 last year multiple times throughout the season. He knows how to play and he's doing it better than anyone at the moment. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's rocking with in February. Tice, you looking forward? I haven't seen your team for a long time since our last team reveal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've got at the moment. Is there any big surprises you're looking forward to revealing to me?
Yeah, a few big surprises, a few people I'm fading as well that are very popular. I'm very looking like pod watch, I reckon, on this one. Bit
Pod
of very
watch.
mid price heavy as well, like yours. So yeah, no, I'm liking the look of the mid prices at the moment this year.
Perfect. No, that's what we love to hear. There is a lot of very tempting mid prices. So if you haven't caught my team reveal, that's out live now as well on all platforms. So feel free to run over there and you catch the prelude to the big show that is this episode. So before we get into it, just a quick shout out to our socials. Yeah, you follow us over there. We do post a lot of content out on them. And if you're still looking for a cash lay, we still do have some spots remaining in ours. So all the info about them are posted on our Facebook, Instagram, X. Reach out if you have any questions or you want to get involved, and we'll talk you through the next steps. But without further ado, Tice, we'll get stuck into it and start in the defense line. We'll start with your premiums down back. Who are you rocking with?
Yeah, I've gone with the three premium setup at the back line at the moment. I'm going Jack Sinclair, choosing to fade Nas at this point in time. It was a big call I made on the St Kilda team preview, and I'm sticking with it. I think Sinclair is going to outscore Nasiah this year. Nasiah was down back, taking a lot of the ball from Sinclair, and now that he's gone into the midfield, Sinclair gets free reign down there. They might throw a Jack Carroll down there, but there's no one of Sinclair's ilk. Next is Connor Rosey. I really like the start of the year. The early fixture is very nice, and no buy is awesome. I think if he plays halfback or midfield, I don't really care. I think I'm picking him regardless. And the third one that I'm counting as a premium, depends what you want to classify as a premium, is Colby McKercher. I think he's really locked into that half back role. Sounds like he's just the main guy. They want to get the ball into his hands. If I see any inkling of him going into the midfield, I'm jumping off straight away. I don't want to deal with how that looks. And yeah, he was a big factor in my side at the back end of last year as well.
Perfect, mate. Off to a very strong start. Yeah, we have spoken about, like you mentioned on the channel before, your decision of Sinclair over Naz. When you first outed that to me, it was complete shock. And honestly, I've come around to it. I'm still rocking Naz at the moment, but I love the call. Sinclair's stats without Naz on the side, with Naz playing midfield, are huge. And we know how good Sinclair's been over the last few years. So I really like the pick, and it's a nice little point of difference there. So yeah, it's a perfect way to start. And then obviously, yeah, Connor Rosie and Colby McKercher, it's hard to argue with either of those two guys. I think, yeah, they'll definitely push that top line in defence come end of year. So good start, mate. But yeah, it's a bit deep. What have you got at D4?
D4, I've gone with Lockie Blackiston.
There we go.
Yeah, so bit of a pot at this point. It will make more sense when I get to the ruck line. I'll explain it more in depth there, but I like the fact that he looked good against Nank. Nank's probably going to struggle with the new ruck rules. I think Blackiston's going to really thrive with them. Admittedly, he is just a second ruck while Nick Bryan is out, but Nick Bryan is out for until round 4, round 5, they're saying. But keep in mind, he hasn't played for 12 months. He hasn't actually played with a lot of AFL experience. I don't see him just walking straight back into this side, especially if Blackiston's doing an all right job. So I suspect Blackiston has that number one ruck for 6 to 7 weeks, and then, yeah, gets that defensive ruck DPP, which allows the swing into the ruck line. And I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, that's kind
Very
of a
good.
nice little segue to the rucks. What are your thoughts on Blackstone?
I love it. I love it. I've come around to it even more over the last probably week or so. I just think that it's just consistent scoring. He looked really good in that Pracky match. I'm interested to watch him this weekend in the unofficial one. But yeah, I think he's the type of ruckman that will thrive from these new rules. So obviously he hasn't got much AFL experience in that position, but fingers crossed, if he can average 80, 90, a couple of spike scores here or there, I think it's a really decent pick. I think the floor is pretty high.
Yep. No, can't disagree with that. D5 and D6 at the moment. I've got D5. I really badly wanted to be Cooper Simpson. I'm so sold on this guy, but it's not. Just because he's injured at the moment, doesn't look like he's playing this week. And I don't think he's going to start in the AFL side. As much as they love him down there, they've kind of got Jack McVee to play that role now. So I've had to just pivot from Cooper Simpson, and I've gone with Charlie Ballard at D5. And then my skipper at the moment at D6 is the barbecue, Sam Grill. Lock the captaincy on him.
All right, I'll make sure I get that on. Very good. Charlie Ballard, Tyson. So I'm not completely up to date on his injury status. I know he's coming off an ACL, I believe it was last year. I know he's not playing tonight. Is that a precautionary thing? Have you looked in depth into his return?
No, but the reports are looking like he's going to be ready for round 1 at least, possibly round 0 is kind of like the media I'm seeing around it. There's not a lot on it. So I do like it. He's not playing in the practice game that's this week. So yeah, I don't like the fact I can't see him. If another defender rookie comes up, I might just pivot. You'll see on my bench, I've faded one of the more favourable rookies at the moment. He could easily go down to him. I mean, yeah, it's probably a nice little segue to the bench. I've gone with Josh Lindsay and Lockie Jacks as my D7 and D8. So I've faded Jai Sarong at this point. But yeah, like I said, Charlie Ballard could pivot to Sarong if Ballard's not playing. I just really like Ballard's year. You go back to 2023. Yeah, he's a key defender, but he was putting up scores, just consistent 60 plus. Even went on a stretch of 93, 132, 83, 124, 95, 97. And that was all consecutive weeks. So you can see that Charlie Ballard can score that well. And he's been a key defender. He's probably locked into that Gold Coast side. So the job security is definitely there. But yeah, you got to pay up with the injury awareness.
Yeah, I'm a huge Charlie Ballard man. I think he's an incredible footballer. I think extremely underrated. I like it. I think I floated to you like 6 weeks or something. When I saw him at that price, I thought, geez, he's got a lot of upside there. The job security is obviously there. Just need to make sure his body's right. And I think, like you mentioned, it might be a little bit of a slow burn, like 60s to start, but he definitely has the ceiling. He's got that intercepting strength, which is SuperCoach gold. So we love that. Obviously, the rest of the rookies, Grill, Lindsay, and Jax, I think are all locks. Sarong obviously is a popular option. He looked good today. I don't know if you caught any of today's unofficial. We are recording on Friday. For those watching at home, he looked good. Thursday, sorry. Damn, I have to work tomorrow. We are, Sarong looked good today. He had 18 touches, scored 79 SuperCoach. So, could be something to keep an eye on for you. He's in my side at the moment, but yeah, I think it's hard to knock any of those selections, mate. A couple mid prices already, but I'm looking forward to seeing even more as the team goes on. We'll move into the midfield. Talk me through it. What have you got?
I'll say that Charlie Ballard's just an expensive rookie, please. Otherwise, I've got way too many mid prices.
Okay. Right. We'll call him a rookie then.
Just quickly on the Sarong pick. The only reason I faded Sarong is because the other guys are locks, playing sort of that halfback distribution role. And Sarong might play that third intercept, but he could also play as a key back. So I still really like the pick. I think he's a great option. But if Ballard's playing, I think I'm going Ballard at this point. Now, with the midfield, how do you want to break this up? Because I think you'll be quite surprised how deep I've gone in the midfield.
Have you got Hayden Young at M1?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Nah. We'll go like three at a time, I reckon.
All right.
My top three at the moment are Zach Butters, Noah Anderson, and Isaac Heaney. Um, Zach Butters, I think, is just an easy lock with the early fixture as well, kind of like what we said on Connor Rosey. I see him being the top scorer for Supercoach. I see him overtaking Bont this year. Um, Contract year is just speaks volumes. I think Port will be quite competitive, and they don't have a lot going through the midfield now in terms of real top talent that are going to take points off him. Like Jason Horne-Francis got a bit of an injury. And then, yeah, Wines is a bit past it and that kind of stuff. So Butters is really going to shine this year. Noah Anderson, I I just keep saying to myself, the early fixture is too good to pass up on a Gold Coast premium. And I'm a big Noah Anderson fan. So I think it was a lot easier for me to pick Noah Anderson, knowing that they've got Richmond, West Coast, easy lock away captain scores. And yeah, it just like Matt Rao's got an injury. I think more points are just going to go to him. The other one that I have started to consider, and I know we've been not strong on the fade, is Petrarca. But I only want to pick one Gold Coast premium. So I've gone with Noah Anderson. And then Isaac Heaney, me and you are both huge on this guy. I just think he's going to dominate this year. Looks good today, and I'm not scared off on the lack of touches. The only thing that did worry me a little bit was the CBAs, but we get to watch him in opening round, so I'm not scared off of him just yet.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I wouldn't be scared off either. I don't have him like you mentioned. We're both hot on Heaney. Um, it was slight alarm bells with the role. I think he attended the fifth most CBAs for Sydney, but I don't know. I think a lot of that is I think Sheldrick was up there with their most, and I just want to see what they have there still. I think Heaney's still in that best midfield mix. So I wouldn't, yeah. And like you said, next week's a blessing in disguise, and that fact that you'll get to have another look at him. Butters obviously is a lock. Don't even have much discussion there. And Noah Anderson, I love it. I love it. I've been looking at ways that I can fit my buy structure around him because I just think he will go massive to start the year. And yeah, I think a lot of people will be chasing their tail by not having him. So I love it, mate. I think it's a good start to the midfield, but you did say you're batting deep here. What do we got at M4?
M4 is Caleb Sarong. I believe that he is underpriced. I think it's almost going to be just a straight swap in terms of points for Brayshaw and Sarong from last year, and Sarong's going to be the main guy. He definitely was tagged a lot at the start of last year, even though he still broke through them and put out hundreds. You can't see the tag scores, but he was tagged. I remember a lot of people were frustrated owning him. And then M5, I've been hot on him, but I'm actually really, really annoyed that he dominated last night in the practice game. I wanted him to stay as a pod. Everyone's looking at him now. I'm really frustrated. Yep, you've already got it. Sam Walsh. I think he's had a huge preseason. You know that I was hot on it when that clip sort of came out of him just streaming through the middle in that Carlton training. Since then, I've just been like, he looks so clean. And I think people forget how good he is because he's been injured for so long, had so many issues. So I'm so hot on Sam Walsh. The only thing is that early buy is the only thing that's making me have him in and out of my side. He's sort of flipping with another forward premium, which we'll get to. But that's the premiums in the midfield at the moment.
Batting very deep in the midfield. Are you worried it doesn't give you much room to move in terms of upgrades? Like you've only got 3 midfield upgrades to make. All things going according to plan. Those 5 don't give you any reasons to trade them. Then you're basically chasing Bont, Dacos, and one other.
Yeah, that's a good point to raise. That's sort of why I don't want to have 5 deep, but I'm so sold on all 5 of these guys that they could easily be top 8 mids. Yes, Bont and Dacos are ones I'm going to target, but the flex option is probably just going to be another midfielder. So I've probably got 4 spots at this point in time. And I mean, we're already planning for the end, but like I like the freedom of picking up a fallen mid because there's always one that comes around. We've seen last year, Jai Caldwell was one of those that we picked up really cheap, and he was so good for us. And if I can pick up someone like that,
Yeah,
that's what is scaring me off batting 5 deep
yeah.
in the midfield.
I
At
think
the
there is
moment,
always
I'm pretty
those
excited.
sort of bargains. I mean, like you mentioned, Caldwell, Dawson fell under 500k. Matt Rayl, I think, was a 450k and then averaged 130 to finish the year. So I can't knock any of the picks except for the fact that maybe it does leave you a little bit tight in terms of further upgrades moving forward. But especially because, Tyson, I can only assume there's a couple of guys to come in this midfield that could potentially be holding their spot on this side for a long time. So I'll let you continue, but I'm smelling some mid prices.
Yep, you'd be correct. There's been 3 mid prices that haven't left my side since team picker. And it's Hayden Young, Darcy Parish, and Tanner Bruin. I'm actually still a little bit annoyed that Tanner Bruin did really well as well because it'd be nice to keep him as a pod. But now he's above 10% owned. But can you really knock any of Hayden Young and Darcy Parish? They've just had the injuries. If you're going to, and people would be like, why are you picking them? Because they just get injuries. If they're injury prone, you start them. So it's only going to cost you 1 trade. If Hayden Young sets the world alight in the first 2 games or first 3 games, he's already had a price rise, then you're scrambling to get him in, and then inevitably going to get an injury because Hayden Young's going to cop an injury, or vice versa with Parish. So I think you've got to start them. So then it only costs you 1 trade when they get the injury. They've definitely got the huge upside on their price to be premium midfielders. So if they stay the whole year, that could be my 8 midfielders to round out my team. But Tanner Bruin's probably going to get that defensive status based on what we saw last night. I was really, really excited by the Tanner Bruin role, off halfback. He moved into the midfield, didn't do too much, and I just think he provided that great dash for him off halfback that they don't really have. Lawson Humphreys might get into that sort of range, but Tanner Bruin was clearly the best running halfback that Geelong have had for a while. So I think they should persist with that. They also have Bailey Smith to come back into the side. So I think he's just going to take the CBAs that Tanner Bruin had, and Bruin's going to stay down the halfback. And then Darcy Parish picks himself. He's a locked-in midfielder for Essendon. It's just going to be the 1-2 punch with him and Merritt, and throwing Caldwell as well. Then they'll throw some young guys in there. But Darcy Parish just looks so fit and dominated Richmond in that unofficial game. So, yeah, pretty solid on that midfield.
Yeah, no, you're batting very, very deep there, mate. And they're all stars, really. Like, you can't really knock any of those picks. And I think there'll be a lot of points coming from your M8, probably more than anyone else. So it's a great start to the team. I've got some questions, but I want to see a bench before I get into them. So who have you got rookie-wise to close out your midfield?
Yeah, so on the bench, I've gone with Chase Jones from Adelaide. I really like the experience head on that wing with Dan Curtin going down, and Isaac Cumming is not playing for the first few games. So I think he's solidified that wing role for now. Experience head looks really good. I've got Rechko at the next spot, but he, if I find money, is going to interchange. Like if Ballard goes down to Sarong, he's probably going to go up to Dyson Sharp. I like the looks of Dyson Sharp. I just don't have enough money for him. And then my third on the bench is Jack Carroll. Talks of him going to halfback. We just love that role. So yeah, that's my midfield bench.
Yep. Okay. Love it. No, that answers a lot of questions. I was thinking that Jagger Smith would just be too good to have on the bench, but I can only assume where he's going to end up. So we'll wait and see there. Unless you're fading Jagger Smith, which would already be the title and the thumbnail of the video if that's the case. But I don't think that's going to happen. So no, I like those bench picks. We'll wait and see on Rechko, and hopefully you can get his minutes this weekend. Chase Jones I like, and Jack Carroll seems to have the role, which is good. So we'll watch them further this weekend, and a little bit in opening round. Hopefully start with those guys, but obviously a bit of rookie roulette this time of year. Just wait and see who's named and who's got that role heading into round 1. What about your Rucks, Tice? It's a much talked about position in SuperCoach this year, and I feel like no one's really got their finger on it just yet. What have you decided on?
Well, admittedly, you could go to the flex and put in
Okay, I'll just do
uh,
that.
like Sam Lawler, because I'm fading Jagger Smith.
I'm not even gonna buy in. I'm not even gonna buy into it.
Yeah, of course. Jagger Smith picks himself. I'm batting so deep in the midfield, I had to fit him somewhere. If I couldn't put him in the flex, he'd be taking one of the premium spots just because he's going to score like one.
Yeah.
So Jagger Smith is a lock easily. We don't need to speak more on him. He dominated last night. But yeah, the ruck line is highly spoken about. I made a big call in the Western Bulldogs preview that Tim English is going to be a top 2 ruck, and I'm still hot on that. Yeah, Tim English is my R1 at this point. And if you're with the new ruck rules, it's too hard to pick who's going to jump and fall. I just feel like it's not going to affect English, Cameron too much. And you can take him out, please. He should be delisted. But yeah, so I think with the top 6 won't change too much in my eyes. For the rucks, you've got Gawn, Cherry, Grundy, Jackson, Cameron, and English. I don't sort of see anyone sneaking up in there. Tom DeConing, if he's definitely solo ruck and like it's Roll Marshall pinch hit, he might get in. But why not just start the cheapest out of the 6 is what I've always sort of said. I see Tim English getting back to his best. He sort of went downhill when the sort of ruck wrestle came into play. We saw he dominated in 2023, I think it was, and then sort of dropped off the last 2 years. So, yeah, I think Tim English gets back to his best. Do you have any issues in the fact that he is my only premium in the ruck line?
Nah, no issues. I still think it's a bit of a stab in the dark in terms of the ruck at this point, mate. I really, really liked what I saw with Brody Grundy today, so that's where I'm leaning. I know it's more expensive and it is 70k. I could probably use elsewhere, but I don't hate the Tim English pick, and I think he is in that mold that would benefit from the rucks that the rules that have been introduced. So, no, I do like it. And like you said, it is the cheapest of the top end guys. So you may as well. I assume you've got the much talked about McAndrew at R2.
Yeah, I do. And the reason for this is, well, I'll see how he goes in the practice game. If he is definitely favoured over Riley O'Brien, which is kind of what the reports are saying at this point, he's going to start R2 for me. If it's to and froing, maybe it's a 50-50 split, I might have to reconsider. But having McAndrew as a main ruckman at 119k is great scoring. He's going to be the best scorer as a rookie behind Jagger Smith, because Jagger Smith's just a premium at this point. So, yeah, you're throwing away 120k on a main ruckman if he provided he gets that role, and let's just say in 3 to 4 weeks it doesn't work out. They bring back in Riley O'Brien, or maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Round 6, I get the DPP of Lockie Blackiston as a ruckman that I can then throw into the ruck line if, all hell broke loose. So, yeah, I like that little bit of flexibility with Blackiston in the defense as well. So that's why I've gone with Blackiston as well in the defense. And then the R3 is the much talked about Liam Reedy anyway. I don't think he did too much wrong. Tended a lot of contests last night in the practice game. So the hit-outs to advantage weren't great, but it looks like they are favouring him, and maybe it's a bit of that ruck craft gelling with the new midfield. So, yeah, that's my ruck line.
Very good, mate. No questions here, really. I think that'll be the common ruck line in terms of that one premium ruck, and then McAndrew and Reedy to close things out. So I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's the safest way to go at this time of year when we have a lot of question marks in that line. What about your forward line, mate? Have you gone stock standard? Is there a couple mid prices in there? What are we talking?
There's a few mid prices, but the last thing I wanted to add to the ruck line is the fact that the new ruck rules, if you can't guess what's going to happen, don't start with 2 premiums. It could easily be as much as Cherry has that great early fixture, he looks like one that might be too overpriced with the new ruck rules. So yeah, it's easier to just go with the one. I'd go with a mid price, maybe a Nick Bryan if he was fit. Would even be my R2. But yeah, that's enough on the rucks anyway. The forward line, well, you can lock in the two most owned in the forward line in Harry Sheasel and Sam Flanders. I'm been toing and froing between Walsh and Cozzy Pickett. As much as Cozzy Pickett dominated the unofficial practice game, I didn't see enough midfield time to be sold on him. I want to buy the role. I don't want to buy, okay, he's dominated and off half forward kicked 5 goals. It was against North, and Melbourne I don't see being too good throughout the year. So it's just not going to happen every week. If in this practice game coming up, he plays midfield and majority midfield, I'll have to sneak him back into the side, and he'll probably be at the expense of Walsh. But that's how I'm currently lining up in terms of the premiums at this point.
Nice. So playing deep in the midfield, a bit shallower in the forward line, but obviously there's no qualms with either of those two guys. They're must-haves at this point in the season, and Tula will probably end the forward line as the top 2 scoring forwards. What about F3, mate? Throw a spanner in the works for me. Who you got?
I've got Jordan De Goey.
Wow, okay.
Jordan De
Goey.
Yeah, Jordan De Goey is currently there. I like the talks of the midfield role, and I want to see it and see him as a main midfielder with Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, everyone sort of playing. I'm not sure who's lining up in Collingwood's side come this practice game. I'm sure that they're going to run around with Angus Anderson and try these new guys as well. But I want to see De Goey locked into that midfield. I like the fact we get to see him at round 0. So he's in there probably until round 0. If I say midfield, he's going to stay. Yeah. So do you have any issues on the De Goey pick?
No issues. I like it. I mean, you're buying the role, and it seems like that's the role. I had heard some stuff that he would be playing deep forward, but there was none of that in the unofficial game. I don't know if that's because it was neither Dacos nor Ned Long, so we didn't really have any midfielders, so he just had to play midfield. But like you said, I think round 0 is just huge for someone like De Goey. Get a real grasp on the role he's going to play and the output that you might get from him. So I like it. I think the upside is definitely there, and at that price, it's pretty hard to say no if he's got the role.
I can't disagree. I think it's just, there was a bit of talk about him going midfield. It started to fade off, but then we only saw midfield in the unofficial game. So that's why I've gone back to him for now. The other mid-pricer that I have is, and I'm still not sold on him. You know why? Because I'm a Richmond man. I don't want to try and have that Richmond bias in, but it's Sam Lawler at this point. Just under 300k. He's never done a preseason because he's always been too good at cricket. And he just looks too good. He's dominating preseason. Like injury free. It just looks like he's locked into that midfield role now. You're buying a guy at 300k. He has a built-in injury score of 4 from last year as well, so he's even underpriced at that. He doesn't need to average much to make you 100k and also provide you that nice scoring. I think he even has to average like that 75 even to get to 400k. So I really love the Sam Lawler pick.
Yeah, I love it as well. The role's there. It's been there all preseason. It was there in the Pracky match last week. I don't think there's many question marks there. If he's in the role, he's making you money, and that's all you really need. If he's playing full-time mid, the worst you're going to get is a 75, 80 average, and he's already made you 100k plus. So the body is the main question mark. Fingers crossed he's over that. But again, if he's playing 60 to 70% game time, limited minutes to warm himself into this huge AFL career he's going to have, I still think he averages 70, 80 at least as a minimum. So I'm not worried about Lawler. I think it's a good pick, and I think there's plenty of upside there. What about to round out the forward line, Tice?
Yeah, to round out on field, I've got Mateus Philippou, should be a lock in everyone's side, and Devon Robertson, another one that should be a lock in everyone's side. They're both playing midfield by the sounds of it. I'm actually keen to see how the Saints use Philippou in their practice game. And yeah, Devon Robertson's in the midfield as well. So buying that role there and happily playing them on field. So I'm really sold on them too. And then to round out the bench, I've got Todd Marshall still at this point. I definitely need to see something from in the practice game. That this backline role is going to stick, and that he's going to be the guy for it. Then yeah, he should be a lock in everyone's side, and he'll get that defensive forward DPP, which is nice. And then my final forward is Leo Lombard to round out the team. So I really like what I'm seeing from him in the preseason. I don't have enough quite to us. I'm batting really thin in the bank department. if that's anything to go by. $400 left over. So, but yeah, Lombard, if he's playing high half forward, I still even like that. But yeah, that's the squad at this point. You need to put the captain on Sam Grill and VC on Sammy Lawler as well.
All right, we'll do. I'll chat that on now for you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
There
you go. Any issues with the forward line and the rookies that rounded it out?
No issues. I think Lombard looks all right at the moment. And yeah, Todd Marshall, I'm also in the same boat. It's a bit of a wait and see. I was really hot on him a few weeks ago. Just the talk of the move to defense, I think, is a big one, but it didn't eventuate to anything last week in the unofficial. Just a couple touches in the second half when he came on. But yeah, I want to see him this weekend and hopefully just sort of settle those nerves with the Todd Marshall pick. But no, I like it, mate. It's looking good. I know you'll probably say this is not going to change until round one or up to round one, but I think there's still a few changes to come. You said that every time I've seen your team, and there's been plenty of changes every time I've seen it. So, but no, it's looking good at the moment, mate. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing with it.
Is there any surprises? Anyone that surprise fades? There's a couple of highly owned, I guess, like Will Brodie's one that I've been pretty hot on in the midfield, but not currently in my side, who I could easily swap for. I guess the reason why, because we're already on him, I guess the reason why I haven't picked him is the fact that Ollie Wines is suspended for 2 rounds and Jason Horne-Francis will probably be back early season as well. If I get 2 games out of Will Brodie and then he gets dropped because Ollie Wines, it's a straight swap, I've then got a dead rookie. If he is playing that round 3, I can then, he's my downgrade option and it'll be a sideways from a failed rookie at that point. Or, an injury or something like that, I can then bring him in then, knowing that he's going to keep that spot. Yeah. So that's the reason why I faded Will Brodie.
Yeah, I like that. I like that thinking with Will Brodie. You might miss down a couple points early, but I think there's enough depth in the midfield, like you've shown today, that you might not need it. So, no, I like it, mate. Not really many big fades that shook me. Obviously, Naz was a big one that we've spoken about before. Cozzy, I expected to see in the side, but I do get your understanding, like your reasoning for him not to be. Well, I do kind of expect that midfield role to eventuate and sort of grow a little bit this weekend and going into the season. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on. But no, the team's looking good, mate. I really think you're a strong chance to come second overall behind me. So best of luck to you. But no, that's good. Thank you again. Until next time, we'll speak to you then.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks, Das.
Thanks, Das.